Good morning. This is Pastor Brian, and I want to thank you for joining me today as we read a psalm a day. Today we are on Psalm 44, and each day as I read the psalms, I read from the Common English Bible translation, and you're invited to follow along in your own translation, listen along, however you get the most out of these daily Bible studies. So let's look at Psalm 44 today. We have heard it, God, with our own ears. Our ancestors told us about the deeds you did in their days, in days long past. You, by your own hand, removed all the nations, but you planted our ancestors. You crushed all the peoples, but you set our ancestors free. No, not by their own swords did they take possession of the land. Their own arms didn't save them. No, it was your strong hand, your arm, and the light of your face, because you were pleased with them. It's you, God, you who are my King, the one who orders salvation for Jacob. We've pushed our foes away by your help. We've trampled our enemies by your name. No, I won't trust in my bow. My sword won't save me because it's you who saved us from our foes, you who put those who hate us to shame. So we glory in God at all times and give thanks to your name forever. But now you've rejected and humiliated us. You no longer accompany our armies. You make us retreat from the enemy. Our adversaries plunder us. You've handed us over like sheep for butchering. You've scattered us among the nations. You've sold your people for nothing. And not even bothering to set a decent price. You made us a joke to all our neighbors. We're mocked and ridiculed by everyone around us. You've made us a bad joke to the nations, something to be laughed at by all peoples. All day long my disgrace confronts me, and shame covers my face, because of the voices of those who make fun of me and badmouth me, because of the enemy who is out for revenge. All this has come upon us, but we haven't forgotten you or broken your covenant. Our hearts haven't turned away, neither have our steps strayed from your way. But you've crushed us in the place where jackals live, covering us with deepest darkness. If we had forgotten the name of our God or spread out our hands to some strange deity, wouldn't God have discovered it? After all, God knows every secret of the heart. No, God, it's because of you that we are getting killed every day. It's because of you that we are considered sheep ready for slaughter. Wake up! Why are you sleeping, Lord? Get up! Don't reject us forever. Why are you hiding your face, forgetting our suffering and oppression? Look, we're going down to the dust. Our stomachs are flat on the ground. Stand up, help us, save us for the sake of your faithful love. Well, that is the end of Psalm 44. What did you like? What didn't you like? What did you get out of this psalm? One of the things that really stuck out to me was how the first part of the psalm talks about all of God's faithfulness in the past and how God never left them and that God was the one that accomplished all of these things in the history of Israel, that the psalmist recognizes that God was the one who helped them get the land. God was the one who freed them from slavery. It's you, God. You is, constantly the word you gets placed in there, and I tried to place some emphasis on that word you because of that. And at the beginning, we have all of that positivity and that recognition that God is the one that has kind of helped them through their history, and God is the one who should receive the glory for the way in which God was faithful to the people Israel. And and if you stop right there, it's a wonderful psalm, but it almost seems as if, to me, it is then, starting in verse 9, a setup for how defeated and disappointed, defeated literally, but defeated also in terms of how they are feeling uh, against these armies that they lost. Clearly, this is a psalm about recognition for what God has done to establish the kingdom of Israel, and now the psalmist is experiencing defeat at the hands of someone, whether it was they were defending and got defeated or attacked it, who knows, it doesn't really matter, and it doesn't mention what battle or war or whatever was going on, only that they lost. And now the psalmist is experiencing this great and deep lament, being crushed, forgotten. And all of these things are words that the psalmist uses to describe the way that God has kind of abandoned them in this defeat. And so I think, the psalmist feels that way because of the way in which God delivered them in the beginning and throughout all these different occasions. And now is wondering, where are you now because we lost? And, sometimes for me, that it doesn't mean that God has abandoned us. And I get that. And I also get that at times when I am having difficulty, I ask similar questions. Maybe not in this kind of strongly worded and as the psalmist does, but I know that in the Psalms they seem to be, moments of great joy and moments of deep sorrow. And I think, again, that's good to help us in our relationship and understanding of our faith. But to kind of go to those extremes seems kind of over the top. But I do think that one of the things that we need to recognize is that God is in the midst of all of our triumphs and our defeats, and not just in battle, but in all situations of our lives. There are times in which things are going really well, and we can look in the back and we can see how God helped us in all those situations. And so my wondering at this moment is maybe this defeat is fresh, and the psalmist is having a difficult time dealing with it, especially with the ways that God has always delivered them in the positive. But I wonder if we could get a glimpse, if maybe the psalmist were to write a follow-up to this psalm to say, okay, this is what happened in the moment, but now that I've looked back, I've seen the way in which, even though this was defeat, that God was with us, that God was alongside us the whole way through. And that is kind of the way I try to look at situations, is that in the midst of them, it's hard, it's difficult to really pull ourselves above to see the whole picture. And instead we're in the midst, we're in the muck of it all. But looking back, it's a lot easier, and hopefully to see the ways in which God was and is active through even the difficult portions. So I just wonder if the psalmist ever changed their mind about this particular defeat that they experienced. So what did you get out of this psalm? What did you like? What didn't you like? Write it down. Share it with a friend. Share it with us. Take care of yourselves. Stay safe. And God bless.